All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back once again. We're going to have another League of Legends match here on the channel as we've got NIU versus Kent State coming up for you in just a minute. NIU looking to finally get into the win column here with a win today over a tough Kent State team once again. I am Connor, Vagel, joined once again. He was missing on Wednesday, but he's back. It's Tim Bungle Bill Schrammick. And we're going to be bringing you all the action today as the teams get ready to start up on this one. Um, Looks like both teams are ready to go here, so we should be jumping into Champ Select very shortly. But looking on, is there anything before we get into that you're noticing, Tim?
So I talked to Bradley a little bit before. He said that Kent State's pretty similar in skill to Western Michigan. They were really, the team was not happy last week about their loss. So this week, they're hoping to close out these games. And he also said that Bradley's our league coach, League of Legends coach, and he told me they're coming out swinging this first game. He said they're flashing on the first person they see. All in, right under tower. Yeah, got to get that first blood. No, I kid. But they are going to come out swinging, he said. Looking top side, I know. Oh, looks like the Alawi ban. Actually, I was talking to Bradley, and he said we were looking at doing picking Alawi because we thought that she would be a nice character. She's pretty strong in this meta, and they wanted a little more utility because, of course, in the chat last week we saw Malphite was definitely a fan favorite, but unfortunately probably not going to see him today from NIU.
Yeah, I would have to imagine that's probably not going to be the case. But Casante going to be taken away by NIU here. NIU on the blue side once again, or sorry, the red side, I should say, which means that Kent State is going to be the ones that have taken off that Olaf here. So Rumble, definitely something with a lot of priority. We've seen that banned away by NIU when they're on the blue side most of the time. And now when Kent State's on the blue side, we see them ban it away. So definitely an interesting one to keep our eyes on.
Yeah, and they also banned out the Casante. Not too surprising. Looks like we're going to get a ban of Draven then. Definitely want to keep that early pressure off of bot. Last week, I personally felt like NIU definitely played a lot around mid. Mid was their strongest lane that they were pushing a lot, and then sometimes top side. Looks like bot side we're playing a little softer. I don't know if that'll change this week. But what we shall see as we get our first picks. We get Maokai, and then looks like a Sedge.
Yeah, Maokai and Sejuani typically been the handshake that we've been seeing in the jungle. Both of them pretty powerful, tanky, off-tank picks, but actually NIU going to switch it up. They're going to go towards the Zeri, which is something we've seen a lot of prio on. Zeri, Lulu especially. The two of them together have the laning phase that can rival the Lucian Nami, so it really pins the side of Kent State into a corner here where they really have to pick up that Lucian Nami or risk having that B-tier bot lane compared to NIU's A-tier bot lane here. So I like that Kent State goes ahead and they do pick that up, so there they are with it. So NIU likely going to go with the jungle answer just to make sure that they have even picks, and there it is. It's going to be the Sejuani once again.
Yeah, so we're seeing Maokai again. We saw him last week. Lucian Nami was something that IU really liked to run last week, but I think they found a little more success in their second game. They ran Zeri and Yuumi. Looks like we're changing out the Yuumi for a Lulu. I like that because I believe Yuumi did get proverbially kneecapped by Riot recently. And so it looks like we're trying to make it up. Oh, and okay, so a Cass ban. I like that. Cass is not a champion you want to let through, but then looks like Kent State's not letting through Rise again. That's perfectly understandable considering our performance last week.
Yeah, looking at it, Cassiopeia and Ryze going to serve as similar types of, sustained damage mid laners here, and then Syndra, definitely something we've seen Skadooshi have a bit of preference on over the years in solo kill. So yeah, Victor going to be the answer. So very similar types of bans here, really just pinning the mid lane. Both teams willing to kind of handshake on the top lane here. And pick wherever they're comfortable here. So NIU going to take the higher priority on the mid lane, considering that that's where most of the bans have gone towards, and they're going to go ahead and hold on to this Ahri for Mr. Beachillin in the mid lane.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Kent State picks to counter this Ahri, and then I want to see what they pick top lane. So we got a Sylas, I'm assuming mid. Really, I think this top lane pick is going to be I think it's going to determine almost the whole game, and we're going to see the Ornn. Ornn is just a champion that he's always good. His upgrading is strong if the game starts to go late. He does pretty solid damage early on. Never a bad pick, honestly. So we'll have to see how NIU is going to have to counter that, because also Orn is very tanky, but even though he is tanky, he's also the... Oh, okay. I guess we changed it up to Gnar.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we've been seeing a little bit of that preference go towards, which begs the question, does NIU go towards the Ornn? I think that with that, they have the opportunity, but no, Mordekaiser is going to be the pick here. So a lot of magic damage coming through for NIU. It's going to be heavily reliant on Zeri to really be pumping out this DPS in the physical damage, whereas on the side of Kent State, you've got a little bit more of a mixed damage build, but I think NIU has a little bit more of that front-to-back team fight with the ability to use the is it Bigify? I want to say it's is the ultimate there for Lulu. But we're gonna see some interesting plays as they go through. So very curious to see how these two teams want to play it, but it definitely looks like more of a front to back style from each of these two sides.
Yeah, certainly. I think I really like the picks. Honestly, both sides are, like you said, very similar in team comp. You have kind of a strong front line with Mord and Sedge for NIU, and then Gnar and Maokai for Kent. Then you got kind of like a mage, Silas being a little more aggressive up front, being a melee champion compared to Ari. But then you got a similar bot lane mechanic too. So it's almost, in a way, about as close as you can get to a mirror matchup. The abundance of AP on NIU, I actually kind of like, especially considering we have the Gnar and Maokai pick on Kent, because since we only have Zeri, it doesn't really make sense to stack armor, but the armor items are probably superior on tanks and probably give a little more utility. So I think the AP might actually help NIU in that regard.
Yeah, I have to agree. Looking at it as well, I think there's a little bit... So there's a bit of a misnomer in these team tops, because one thing that I think is really strong about the fact that NIU has picked Mordekaiser is, unlike the side of Kent State, who does, like you mentioned, have those two frontliners in the Gnar and the Maokai, Gnar is not always going to be the frontliner that you kind of want him to be. Silas can be that pseudo frontliner when Gnar is in his mini form, but NIU is pretty much always going to have those two frontliners available in the Mordekaiser and the Sejuani. The other thing that's really interesting about the matchup is we're going to see the really fun part about this Mordekaiser is, if you look at the side of Kent State, you kind of have to choose whether you want Silas to be that off tank or if you want him to be that full damage mage. If he's going for the full damage mage, then you still don't necessarily have... You really only have one, true damage champion in this lineup. And then that would be... or sorry, if he's going for off tank, that is, then you have Lucian being that only damage. Silas kind of can come in and be that damage as well, but Mordekaiser's ultimate is going to be able to take Lucian out of every fight, so long as he's able to land it correctly onto the Lucian. And that should give NIU and the Ari, the Zeri, the Lulu time to just knock down as many of these champions as they can before Lucian can, either get knocked down by the Mordekaiser himself or rejoin the fight. So should be a very interesting one. I really do want to see where they're able to use, whether NIU is able to use this Realm of Death correctly, and sentence people to the Death Realm and then potentially turn this around on their head. So we got 45 seconds left before we jump on into game number one. So feel free to throw it in the chat. Who do you guys think is going to win? Is NIU going to be able to take this game and get their first game win of the season? Or is Kent State going to, do they have just the superior lineup in terms of what they've drafted? Are they going to take this one? I think NIU has really shown improvement game upon game, so I'm excited to see how they play this one out, and especially I think this is probably, I have to say, this is one of my favorite drafts they've had so far, so very interested to see how they play this one out.
Yeah, I'm very excited. This is probably, I would agree, my favorite draft I've seen. I really do like the Mord pick. The fact that you brought up his ultimate, it's so strong. Say we get a Lucian or Silas, he starts getting a little fed out of control, and he's just solo carrying team fights. Well, Mord doesn't necessarily have to beat him. He just has to take him out of the fight for a couple seconds while NIU can clean up the rest of the team. It's very strong on the off chance someone gets just fed. And so I really do like the Mord pick, and I'm just so excited to see what happens. But we have to wait another 2 minutes or so for ourselves to load in, then for us to get the game started. And then, so Connor, I want to ask you, Bradley told me that they're coming out swinging. What do you think that NIU maybe has planned based off this team comp?
Well, this is definitely a comp that can jump on in. With the I believe it's Nether Grasp, but the Mordekaiser pull, he can pull somebody back in towards the team, and then you have Ari with the charm. You've got Zeri with the W for some damage, and Sejuani as well. If you're stacking up the stun, then there's a firm possibility that they're going to look for a bush gank or something to start off, a little bit of a cheese to start off the game. So we'll have to see, as here we are jumping on into game number 1, and I know it's a black screen for you guys. There you go. And so let's go ahead and check that out. We'll get you guys some objective timers, and then we will get you guys zoomed out to the proper size. So yeah, as soon as I say that, I am absolutely incorrect. No bush cheese that we've got going on here. It does look like both teams are going to go very standard 5-point starts. Looking across, though, we see teleports in the top lane. That's to be expected. Smites on the junglers, again, expected. Mid lane is the first time that we get a little bit of a difference here. We do see the teleport on the Sylas compared to the Ignite for the Ahri. Looks like both ADCs are going for cleanse, which is a bit of a change. Extra Loaded has been going for the heal for the most part this season, but does go for the cleanse today. And then Musinator going to be on the Nami, is going to be piloting that Ignite compared to the Exhaust for the side of the Lulu. Going through those runes real quick, we're going to see, Grasp of the Undying on the Gnar. Then going down the side of Kent State, we see Phase Rush for Malphite, Conquer for the Sylas. That's going to be actually first strike for Lucian, so that's kind of interesting, as well as the Summon Aerie for the Nami. On the side of NIU, it's going to be the Conqueror in the top lane for that Mordekaiser. Then we're going to see the Aftershock for the Sejuani. It's going to be the Electrocute for Ari, the Lethal Tempo for the Zeri, and then Summon Aerie for the Lulu.
I'm a little surprised. Oh, looks like a little bush cheese by Kent State to start it off. They're going to get a nice chunk on Lulu. Trade's not particularly massive for Kent State, but it's a nice small advantage to start off the game. But what I was going to say is I'm a little surprised by the cleanse by Extra Load, because just looking at a lot of the CC that Kent State has, barring Gnar, who is a bit conditional, but his CC is very strong. The only thing I believe that they could cleanse from someone else would be Maokai's root. Well, I suppose it is Maokai's root and his ultimate. But knockups, from my understanding, cannot be cleansed.
Yeah, that's going to be something that we'll have to see how the interaction plays out, but should be an interesting one for sure. I think you might be onto something with that knockups, venture. So we'll have to see how this one continues to play out. Overall, a little bit of an early lead going forward towards the mid lane for NIU. Gives them just about 100 gold lead, and that was a nice trade there from Skadushi. We'll call it out that he was able to grab the nice root, and then the Abduct does mean that he's able to get a bunch of damage on towards the Ahri. But be chillin', uses one of his health potions and is actually able to keep his farm lead intact at this point.
Yeah, NIU also has a very slight CS lead bot lane. It's pretty much neck and neck all across the board. You see our junglers are pretty much just full clearing. I don't think we'll see any early jungle action quite yet. Probably not until after first back. Looks like Mort's going to be pushing up top lane. Maokai looks like he's hanging out around mid lane. I think he's going to be making a play on that. Oh, no, looks like a very early roam bot. And then looks like NIU might be answering topside.
I think what's going on here is Maokai's probably looking for the scuttle in the bot side, and so that was just Sylas roaming down, giving him some help so that he could get that. And oh my, we just saw the side of Kent State jump on in there, and they're just able to grab the kills on towards NIU's bot lane. First blood. My apologies, I was looking at the minimap, and all of a sudden now Kent State up 2 kills here in that bot lane. Luckily, if there's one consolation prize for NIU, it is the fact that Nami grabbed the first blood. So it does mean that there's a little less gold going over towards the Lucian's pocket, but overall not exactly where you want to be if you're NIU.
Yeah, it's a tough start. Lucian Nami can be a very oppressive lane, be very annoying to play against. But of course, I think NIU might be playing for the late game. But looks like we're going to be seeing some action mid lane, some flashes coming out. A big knockup. Ari is in trouble. Silas is low. But it looks like it's turned around. Now Maokai's the one in trouble, and he's gone. NIU is going to have a nice answer to that early gank.
Yeah, absolutely. He was able to use the dive forward with his W, as well as his flash to get in there, and then NIU really nicely dodged away from some of those abilities, and at that point there really wasn't any way for the Maokai to escape the fight, and NIU able to grab one back here. So they do get something back in the end off of this early aggression from Kent State, but we'll have to see if they're able to continue to build this up. One thing that we did notice from Western Michigan on Wednesday was they were constantly moving towards this first Drake as soon as it spawned. We haven't seen either team necessarily do that here. This is going to be another engage here by the side of Kent State, and I'm not sure that there's really a whole lot that that Lucian and Nami can do to get stopped here. So does mean the flash has to come out by Buff Pillsbury Boy, but it does also mean that NIU able to grab the able to keep themselves alive despite the aggression there from Kent State.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be possibly baiting for Sedge to come in. I'm not sure, though, if Sedge, even with the 3v2, with the Zeri and Lulu very low, now evening out the levels for Zeri, it's still, I'm not sure if this is a play that you want to force, but we'll see, and it looks like Sedge is just kind of waiting there patiently, and it looks like Nar's going to get grabbed. He's going to be forced to push Mort away, and now the bot games begin. Here we go. They're diving on to Lucian. Oh, they have the 4-man.
That's going to be turned around real quick by Kent State, though, but they are able to grab one here with Ari, and actually, Extra Loaded will fall, but we'll see if they're able to grab anything else out of this. That's going to be, the charm does land. Now it's going to be turned back in favor, a 2-for-2 with NIU, and they do have the man advantage here. We'll see if Biscuit Flavor is going to be able to dive in. It does look like Silas is there, but he'll turn around, so Kent State does decide to call off the play. It is just an even 2-for-2 trade, and NIU put a little bit more resources in there, but it did get something at least back onto the bot lane in that they were able to get Zeri one of the assists, but looking at it, you're really going to have to rely on the Ari now if you're NIU, considering that she's at 2-0-1. Despite the slight farm disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, I did not notice Ari coming down, so I did not notice that was a 4v2, so it was a good solid play by NIU there. Unfortunately, with the 2-for-2 trade, though, it's not ideal when you're going to be committing to 4 people. And now Zeri and Lulu are going to have to play pretty conservative. They're going to be kind of getting shoved, and I think NIU is probably going to end up seeding this first Drake, unless Ari can get a lot of pressure mid. But we shall see. Looks like Mord and Nar pretty much neck and neck. A 6 CS difference. And it looks like there might be a bit of a dive coming in from Kent State. Lulu's going to get knocked up. Zeri's going to try to body block, but can't quite do it. Lucian taking a lot of damage, but I believe that's going to be first Drake to Kent State now that Ari is back in base.
Yeah, it has to. NIU's going to have to play a little bit more defensively at this point with it. They won't be able to contest this Drake. But actually, Xanakin looks like he might be wanting to do so. He is level 6 compared to Biscuit Flavor's level 5 here. So just the threat of the Zeri being around means that NIU is going to be able to, take out that control ward and potentially even keep Kent State from starting up this dragon here. So it would be one as Beachillin is going to step into this. Charm does miss, and now there's the Absond and Abduct. Is it going to be enough healing? And it is just going to be enough healing through. Extra Loaded in not a great situation there, so he'll have to back away. But it is just constant aggression coming through, and there, nicely done, ulting backwards does Beachillin do, and it does mean that he's able to get out of that one. But again, Kent State able to be aggressive on some of these plays, and we are just seeing immediate fights constantly across the map. Now, Mini Nar does come through, and Gotcha Sucker is going to take a nice chunk of damage on towards this Nar, but now he's got to be careful as with the slow coming through, he does just miss the Q, so it will mean that he has to back away here. And that will be Kent State finally taking that dragon in the bot side of the map.
Yeah, it looks like Nar is really just trying his best not to fight Mord here. Seems like every time Gotcha Sucker gets a nice engage, Nar just pushes him back and just walks away. Probably a smart move by him. I don't think he wins the trade. So I think he's just satisfied with at least keeping Mord from roaming bot side for now and making too much of an impact. That's going to be first Drake over to Kent State. And they have about a 1.8 gold lead. Certainly not ideal, but definitely not even close to insurmountable for NIU. And I wonder if they're going to be trying to make a play on this Rift Herald. As yep, looks like Sedge is going to go for it. Avi's going to kind of position herself, and looks like we do have some pretty good top lane prio here. Though Gnar is going to go into his mega form very soon.
Yeah, it does look like the side of NIU is going to look to potentially steal away this blue buff, and it does look like just in vision with that sapling is the Sejuani, so it does mean NIU is going to have to back away from this play. But I think there was the right idea there, just unfortunate timing in the Maokai getting up there. He did know, or he did assume that Sejuani was going to be to that side of the map. You saw a bunch of pings dropped when she roamed up towards that top side. Now, this is Tidal Wave going to be used, and that's going to be actually just enough damage to get the kill there. So, once again, the Lulu is going to fall, but Flash comes through from extra loaded. Is he going to be able to do anything here? The cleanse does just buy him a little bit of time, but he does still fall to the Lucian, and now that is a 5-1-2 Lucian piloted here by Voidstar. Now, this is Mega Gnar. Nice flash to avoid the Gnar, and there's going to be, actually, the ultimate hadn't come out yet, but this is going to be the Sejuani. Flash comes through, and that's going to be ultimate traded, and Sejuani from Zanakin is going to be able to grab that kill and potentially the Rift Herald here. So NIU does look like they have some opportunities to take some plays here, but they will have to stem some of this bleeding coming through from the bot side, as you had mentioned earlier, when this combo of Lucian and Nami gets ahead, as there's the root coming through from the stolen ultimate as well, as Glacial Prison is stolen here by the Silas. Now, this is traded back, but is Mordekaiser able to grab anything out of that? And there is going to be a little bit of damage coming through from his Sound and Abduct. He is taken to the Death Realm, and Ari's going to be able to grab a little bit more damage. His Biscuit Flavor is going to fall. Chillin' does not land. Oh, there's the ulti. Nicely done to dodge out on that one, and the Charm could be enough, and it is indeed, as there it is, a double kill over towards the side of Chillin'. And just as we were saying that the Lucian is becoming a bit of a problem, as is the Ari on the side of NIU. That's a Mythic already finished up here for the side of the Sejuani. Though do keep in mind that that is also Mythics on the Silas and the Gale Force on the Lucian already here in the game. So likely going to see Chillin' backing here, and I believe he has enough for the completed Mythic. Does look like that with 1830 gold here. Should have plenty of gold in his pocket. Now, NIU going to have to be careful here. They do just dodge out from the Tidal Wave, but the Maokai's here as well. That's going to be also the culling used, and not going to really find a whole lot with that, but Buff Pillsbury Boy is going to fall immediately with Biscuit Flavor here as well. X Reloaded will not be long for this world either, and that is another couple of kills going over towards the Lucian, and just a scary champ to have to face if you're NIU here, because he really, there's not really a whole lot you can do to stop him when he's at this point of being this fed, and the Nami is so far ahead as well.
Yeah, they're just stomping on a NIU bot lane. They're just giving them no chance to get back into the game anytime they have some sort of room. Here's Maokai, here's Nami dropping their ults, which is unfortunate, but you could say that it's possibly positive that Kent State's dedicating so many resources to this lane, and it doesn't really look like they're getting as much out of it as they could. And NIU's getting some nice, they're getting nice trades mid lane and top side. So, for NIU, it might be one of those things where bots just going to have to do their best to hold out, because if the rest of the team here can kind of start getting a lead, then it's a worthy sacrifice, One of those things is lose the battle, win the war.
Exactly. Now, that was an interesting trade up on the top side, as one thing that I think Milkshakey might have missed was the enhanced damage that you get on Mordekaiser Q when you're the only one hit. He dove tower a little bit and took that Q, and had about half of his health bar dropped off of it. So this Mordekaiser, you see just the Blasting Wand and the Giant's Belt finished up here for Mordekaiser, and already he's in a spot where he's able to dump a large amount of damage on towards the Gnar here when the fights do break out. Does look like both teams are kind of playing towards the spot side, potentially looking for this Hextech Drake, since it is available at this point. No, it says the Mountain there for you, but that is a visual glitch. It is not Mountain that's available right now. It is Hextech. So looking across, does look like the side of Kent State took that first mountain, so we won't see Mountain and we won't see Hextech as the Soul. Could potentially see a Chemtech Drake, one of the new ones this season. So some interesting types of dragon plays that we could see potentially coming out here. Biscuit Flavor really putting some vision down, wanting to potentially grab this. His bot lane has had the chance to back one additional time. NIU doesn't know that for sure, so they were just kind of spouting out some vision. Now we do see that the bot lane from Kent State has come back with a little bit more items as we see a fight break out in the top lane. That is a lot of damage coming through from Gotcha, and he is able to grab the solo kill. Extra loaded, taken very low, and there's going to be Voidstar grabbing yet another kill. The culling comes through, and that's going to be a second one. Actually, Biscuit Flavor will grab that one, and so it will be the Hextech Drake going over towards the side of Kent State. And unfortunately, NIU able to grab that solo kill up on the top side, and immediately gets traded back for a double kill towards the bot lane here of Kent State.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to see NIU maybe try to trade Herald there in that situation. Though armor plating is down, looks like Ari's going to possibly be in trouble. Luckily, she's got her ult. She was able to dash out as Maokai was coming in to try to secure the kill. Ari does have a bounty right now, something you definitely don't want to give her to Silas. He's not the kind of guy you want to get fed. Oh, a nice little dash to dodge Silas's. Oh gosh, what's the item called?
It is
blinking.
Yeah, my first yes. It is the Everfrost.
Everfrost, yes.
But yeah, really nicely done. Able to grab that one out. Does mean bot lane here for Kent State grabs the full turret in the bot side. Does look like turret plating had expired though, so that was positive at least for the NIU side. Neither side having taken a Rift Herald quite yet in the game. Chemtech is going to be the Drake as well, so you see those empowered plants have come through. As a reminder, since we haven't had it yet this year, Chemtech Drake is interesting in that if you get the soul of it, it gives, I believe it's additional, is it haste again? What is it now? It's the...
Oh, it's like stacks, right, on every auto attack.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one. They changed it up since they had initially released it last year, so it's kind of an interesting one at this point. But yeah, Everfrost finished for both of these mid laners. Looking at it, Lucian sitting on 2 items. Zeri just now finishing her, not even yet finishing her first item. Voidstar going to try to do a lot more damage, and now there's going to be the ultimate dropped on Voidstar, and this is potentially where the over-aggression could be punished, and that is going to be traded back, but is it going to be enough as the Glacial Prison doesn't land, actually gets cleansed is what it was. I think had that cleanse been down, it probably would have been the kill going over towards the side of NIU and potentially the trade, and with that I think they would have had the damage to be able to potentially win that fight, but unfortunate not able to work through the cleanse here. Now there's the potential for a dive up towards this top side. Biscuit Flavor going to be grabbing a couple of turret shots here, so I think you probably have to call off the dive if you're Kent State, considering the fact that he's already taken so many turret shots, and now that's going to be, actually the dive does come through, and just a little bit too far forward from Musinator. Now we'll see Skadushi just going to get away from that one, just walking backwards, and NIU, I think, is looking for whatever plays they can find, but it's certainly a tough situation to be in when you have this Lucian that's up so far in kills and in gold generally.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about ulting Lucian in that situation. I think maybe it would have been best if we waited just a little more time until Ari was a little more in position so she could maybe try to take on the Nami to prevent any sort of support. Well, real quick question, does Cleanse... Can you cleanse a Mortal? Because I know you can...
I don't think you can cleanse the Mortal, but I know that you can cleanse, or you can QSS it.
Yeah, I know you can QSS it. I'm assuming you can't cleanse it because Lucian did not cleanse it right away. And it looks like Mort is going to get caught out here. I don't think he's going to get the chance to get into the turret. Silas is going to ult him just to prevent it, just in case. Looks like Ari might have a nice play, though, to trade Maokai. 3 top for Kent State right now.
Yeah, going to have to land. There it is with the. That's actually really nice that she was able to get the proc of Triumph. I think it was when she leveled up there off of the kill. Just gave enough healing to be able to actually grab the able to grab that and take the turret shot and live. So really nicely played by Ari.
Yeah, excellent dive. I was a little concerned at first, but she pulled it off. I mean, it's just like the skills that these players have. Obviously, they know a lot more than me about their champions, so I can only speculate what they're thinking. But it was an excellent dive there by NIU as they're starting to get closed in, and it looks like Kent State's just trying to kind of put the pressure on in all lanes. Looks like they're rotating their bot lane around to just kind of, move around their weight and just pressure NIU. It's difficult. The problem is once you get that Lucian and Nami on you, it's so hard to get away from him. So he's going to have to flash out. They're going to get the flash from Lucian in trade, which is quite nice. Very aggressive from Lucian there, but it looks like they're just trying to force a play so they can get that Drake Force the Soul.
Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot that that extra load can do there. That is a 2.5, almost 3-item Lucian against a 1-item Zeri. Zeri can jump over the walls, but not really able to do so in the middle of a lane, and Lucian does have the culling to follow that up. So it did mean that was the damage, and now this could potentially be a pick on towards B Chillin. Does have the Scryer, so is able to know that they're kind of positioning towards potential pick. So we'll see how NIU wants to answer this one. They just give up the Chemtech Drake. We'll see if they want to just grab some farm potentially and try to grab some items onto these carries. I think they do eventually scale, but they do have to kind of wait this out a little bit and just see what they can do, because a 7,000 gold lead is certainly nothing to laugh at if you're the side of NIU. And now this could be the pick going on towards B Chillin, and there it is just positioning a little too aggressively, and so that'll be immediately the Baron started up for the side of Kent State. And if you're NIU, I think you kind of just have to give this up. You might, out of desperation, just try to dive over with the Sejuani, but I really don't think you even have that as a play. We'll see what they want to do. Potentially, there's going to be the chains, and it is just going to be the side of NIU stuck and not able to dive over the wall even with that nice Maokai ultimate, able to keep them out of the pit.
Yeah, so, I mean, looking at the side of Kent right now, obviously they have a massive lead. I do think that NIU does scale a little bit harder. You're looking at, for example, Gnar. He does have a Trinity Force, so he's going a little more aggressive with his build, which is good for NIU because that means he'll be less tanky, less able to frontline. But that also means that you're going to have to now stall the game for probably about 10 minutes to allow your carries to kind of catch up to where Kent State's are. And it's going to be very difficult. They're going to have to play very tight because you cannot be getting caught out here, especially by someone like, Nami or Maokai hitting you with a root. It's a lot of CC, and you got to really watch yourself.
Somebody in chat pointed out that the healing from Ari, and this is going back a little bit as we do see, we'll answer it after that play, but Milkshakey with a nice trade here from Got You Sucker. Is he going to be able to get the pullback? No, it won't land, and so it will mean that both these top laners are just walking away from it. But the point that was made in chat is, as Extra Reloaded just is able to get away from that one, but point made in chat by Animosity X was the healing for Ari during that mid lane dive, and that was a nice try at the Glacial Prison, but didn't really grab anything out of it, and it will just be traded back. And this is the power of the Lucian Nami, just making sure that every auto attack from Lucian is empowered. And Voidstar's going to be able to grab one, now potentially a second comes through from Skidushi. That's going to be the third coming through for Skidushi as well, a double kill for him, and now diving over the wall is not able to land the abduct here. After the Absand, and now will just be the mid lane inhibitor falling. But I will get to that point that we made. The healing was coming through from Ari's passive, was what the point was made. We'll say it real quick as Extra Loaded. Yeah, just going to get dove on here by the full team of Kent State. Kill will go over towards the Gnar, and it will just be Chillin sitting in the base, as well as Lulu. They're going to make one last stand, but Kent State says they just want the Nexus, and they are going to go ahead and grab this first game of the series 23-8 with a nice 12,000 gold lead, and NIU will have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what they want to do for game number 2.
Yeah, I believe that Ari passive, that's I believe new, well, relatively speaking. She got a visual update and a slight kit update. I believe, honestly, it might have been almost a year ago now. I've been playing this game too long. So that's probably where the healing came from. That possibly might have been that and a little bit of Triumph. But NIU is going to lose that one. It's going to be a little tough. I think a lot of that game could be summed up as NIU. The game, it was a bit of a rough start in those first 5 minutes. Kent State did a really good job of pushing their lead. In NIU, there was a couple key critical points where I think they maybe just played a little too aggressive. And because Kent State had that early lead, they were even though, say, it was a good idea, the problem is when Kent State has that slight early lead, they're just a little more, it's a lot easier for them to capitalize on small mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, NIU, I think the Kent State knows their win condition, and that is their bot lane. It's their strongest lane in terms of just raw skill. It's been that way for years. I was talking to Tim a little bit before the game about these past matchups we've had against Kent State, and it always tends to be that Moosinator and Void Star for the past couple of years, and even different carries before that, have always been very powerful in that lane. So Kent State knows that that's their win condition, has played towards it once again, and they will take that one. So we'll see if NIU is able to trade something a little bit differently here in the draft, and if they can potentially grab game number 2. We'll be back in just a minute with game number 2, and we'll keep you guys posted, and we'll see when the draft happens for that one.
Jack it up.
close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on.
All right, welcome back, everybody. As there we go. As we are about to jump into game number 2 of this best of 3, we do see that both teams have readied up, and there we go. We're jumping on into Champ Select here for game number 2. And looking at it, NIU needs to make a little bit of a change here, and there is the first change they're going to make. It's going to be a Kindred ban immediately. So not doing that Rumble first ban. It is going to be Kent State still making that Rumble first ban, though. So nothing too unstandard, and there it is, the Nami taken away. Really, there's not a whole lot of supports you can play with Lucian outside of the Nami. You can play a little bit of Lulu, and so we'll see if NIU wants to pick that up and then kind of deny that entire Lucian pick for the most part. Maokai going to be taken up, and there's the Lulu. So it is going to be very different types of bot lanes here, and I'm happy to see that. I think that's a big difference from game number 1 after they had really a bot lane takeover for the side of Kent State.
Yeah, Lucian is a little tricky. Lucian and Nami, it's already a tricky lane, and Kent State certainly has just an absolutely fantastic bot lane. So you definitely want to ban him out, and just banning the Nami is quite smart from NIU. I'm a little surprised that Kent State banned out Maokai, considering they played him last round, but, you know, hey. Oh, but they're going to take the Udyr pick. I'm not sure, has Udyr been nerfed since his release? I remember he was definitely pick banned when he got reworked. Udyr recently got a visual rework he was voted on. So he looks very cool now. Still looked cool before, though, of course.
Yeah, he's gotten a couple of nerfs since then. I'm actually quite surprised to see the Udyr. It's not something that's been super high prio, but there's going to be the Ashe Very likely going to be Moosinator playing that. I know in the past it's been more of an ADC pick, but you have to imagine it's going to be more of a pick for the support. So maybe something like a Varus here to go with it. We've seen Ashe with a few different AD carries, a little more of those poke type ADCs lately, but Xanakin going to pick up the Olaf. So we're definitely seeing things that are more comfort and less meta. Olaf and Udyr, not something we've necessarily been seeing at the organized play level lately, so I'm very curious to see. And there's the Heimerdinger. So you pick this into the Ashe support. It's got the bot lane poke potential, but there's the Cassiopeia. So the sustained damage potentially for the mid lane. So I'm very curious to see how NIU plays this one out, because we are getting some spicy drafts here.
Yeah, this game definitely a lot different from last one. Last one I felt like was a pretty standard run-of-the-mill comp, and now we have the Olaf. I believe that's going to be an Olaf top, unless they're running a Sedge top. That is also doable. It's a little cheese, but hey, you know, so was Disco Nunu mid, but it was very good. So sometimes it's those little niche picks that are actually a lot stronger than people really catch on to for a while, and that's where you can get the power from. So we're going to see NIU's next ban here. Looks like they're probably going to be banning a top laner or another ADC. They're going to ban out Caitlyn. Probably a good pick with that Heimer. Caitlyn has very strong, she's a lane bully due to her long range, and Heimer is very good at just denying area, so you don't want to let Heimer get poked out too much. And then lastly, we're going to get a Pantheon ban from Kent.
Yeah, and so NIU going to make their last ban. I am curious to see with that Olaf top. I wonder if that might be that they may be thinking this Udyr could go top, and maybe it's a pick for the potential counter there. Very curious to see how these teams are going through the draft of this one. With 3 seconds left, it'll have to be something a little different here for NIU, and it is the Syndra, something that we've seen that mid lane priority on. So maybe the thought process could be that the Cassiopeia may be the support with the Ashe ADC potentially. We've seen some even crazier picks at different times, and as the Anivia is going to be hovered, which that again could go kind of anywhere, especially if that Ashe does go ADC. But Shen looks like it is going to be locked in, so that'll be the top laner here, unless you get something really crazy like an Udyr top and a River Shen. But I'd have to imagine we're going to see the Shen top, Udyr in the jungle, and potentially that Olaf to go against the Shen. Now, Senna Heimerdinger has been a strong lane lately, and if Extra Loaded can play that Senna, there it is. It's going to be a little different than what we've seen NIU go for in the first 5 games so far this season. So I am very curious, because this is a very different type of look outside of the Sejuani once again. We'll have to see where NIU wants to go with this last pick. This will tell us if it is going to be the Heimerdinger mid, and with that Kassadin hover, you have to imagine that it's going to be the handshake into the Kassadin. Kassadin has been getting super... A Garen? Hold on just 1 second, folks, because we have had a Garen picked. Now, is that a Garen top lane to go against the Shen? The counter to the Olaf would be the Shen. So is this then the Garen to counter the Shen, and the Olaf gets flexed to mid lane?
Is it a Sedge? I think it might be Heimer mid, Sejuani support, Olaf jungle.
We'll have to see as they go through this one.
I am a little bit perplexed by NIU's picks here. I like it. I like the creativity.
NIU looks like they might be swapping their bot lane. So Buff Pillsbury Boy, as a support main, has that experience on the Senna. So the farming Senna will go towards the support role in this one, and the Heimerdinger support, quote unquote, will actually be piloted by the bot lane carry. So this could be a very interesting one. Jin, I mean, that's pretty standard. We see this. But spicy draft on NIU's side as we get the Garen. You know what we're missing here on the side of NIU is it's going to be tough to play that top 3 lanes without any range, though. It's kind of my worry here. I mean, Shen, Udyr, they're both melees, but now you've got the Cassiopeia who can be from range. Jin's going to be playing from range. Ashe is going to be playing from range. And I guess the one positive if you're NIU is Senna with some souls can outrange all 3 of them anyway. So Senna with a bunch of souls, and I'm not saying she'll get to that point here because this is like when Skin Spotlights tests, or Vanderil tests all the different things. But, Senna technically with enough souls can shoot from her base to the other Nexus. So, I mean, you never know. She is in all technicality the highest range champion in the game. So
if the game is to run for 10 hours, NIU has almost certainly secured the dub.
don't you dare speak that into existence. I don't think I can speak for 10 hours straight, but we'll have to see. This one's going to be an interesting one for sure, folks, as we do see that Garen in the mid lane. It's not something that's super common, but we did see it a bit last season, especially towards the solo queue ranks. Not as much in organized play, but I guess with the Cassiopeia, it is actually... Theoretically, it's not a bad Cassiopeia counter, considering you've got the ability to silence on your Q. You also, yes, you still get slowed when you're grounded, so you don't necessarily get the speed from the Q. But Garen's entire kit is built around not necessarily having these blinks or dashes, but just being able to chase you down. And Cassiopeia does get, as she levels up, more and more move speed, but especially early on, she can definitely be liable to be chased down and just take a bunch of damage. So we'll have to see how NIU wants to play this one out. Olaf could be the same type of champion, so I'm interested to see how that works into the Shen. The biggest thing with Olaf is, especially with his changes, it's really based around getting those auto attacks and continuing to use the auto attacks to proc your passive. Or not your passive, sorry, your ultimate, to continue that running. And Shen can just drop down his shield and block you from auto attacking in the time period. So there's definitely some interesting interactions in this team comp. I'm excited to see how NIU plays this one out. This is the type of creativity you need if you're gonna beat a team that might be a little bit on paper a little bit differently skilled than you are, especially when your strength can be your mid to bot side, and that's the team has the same strength. So I'm very curious to see how they end up playing this one out. 18 seconds left before we end up seeing this game, but Tim, any last thoughts before we jump on into this game number 2?
Okay, my thought process goes like this. I think the idea is that we have the Heimerdinger Senna, and their goal is simply to not lose bot lane. Just don't get rolled over, because Kent State, obviously, they're very strong. They're probably going to be forcing their bot lane as much as they can, so you're going to have to turtle a little bit, right? I'm thinking the Olaf is you put him top lane, maybe get an early kill. If not, you just get him up, right? And then you start using him to run down Cass. And you use him to run down the bot lane. Because he can't be slowed when he ults. He also can't be stunned. So I bet you the idea is, and he's got the Ghost. So I'm thinking that NIU wants to use him to run down the bot lane of Kent State. I think the Garen is a stat stick to maybe just counter Udyr, and also his ability to silence could be pretty strong on someone like Shen. And Sedge is just, she's a jungler. She's got strong CC. That's my thought process looking at this team comp. I could be wrong, but that kind of makes sense to me, because it's certainly unique. It's a very interesting pick, and I'm just so excited to see what happens.
Level 1 play. Level 1 play. Level 1 play. We've got 5 people invading here potentially, and Voidstar's just going to go ahead and drop the ward and back out of this one. But Ashe will throw the volley over the wall, and you would take a little bit of damage. They'll drop their own ward, and they say, okay, well, that was a level 1 play, and there you go. The counteract to this is you do see that Udyr is able to grab the ward right here on the right there on the map, if you do see in the blue pit, whereas NIU does have that the little turret here for Heimerdinger does get cleared out. They are able to place a ward of their own here, so we got 3 health ward going on for them, but it is going to be the start on towards this red buff for Zanakin. He'll heal up the damage that was poked over with the volley, so in the end it doesn't really do too much. Looking at the starts, it is going to be the teleport and the ghost, very standard for Olaf, but different than normal. and Conquer as well. Then you see the Grasp of the Undying with the Teleport and Flash. Ghost and Smite for Udyr, so he's not going to have any dashes to get over the wall. He'll have Ghost to be a little faster, but he's not going to be able to get out. He's kind of a one-directional champion here. B Chillin is going to be piloting that Garen with the Ghost and the Flash. We skipped over the it is the Aftershock for the Sejuani. Conqueror for the Udyr. Conqueror for the Cassiopeia, so more of that sustain build versus the Phase Rush for the Garen. Arcane Comet and Cleanse for extra load on this Heimerdinger. And then the Jhin is doing Ghost and Fleet Footwork, so he definitely wants to be, speeding up and going fast. Which works with the Ahri passive, since her crits do slow, so that's always fun. Exhaust on both these supports, Arcane Comet for the Ashe versus the Fleet Footwork for the Senna.
Yeah, the one thing you're looking at the Garen Cass matchup here is that I'm worried that Garen's just like he's right now. He's getting shoved under tower, and the worry is that he's going to just get poked out. Ooh, a nice little early start by NIU. Looks like they're going to trade, but Jhin gets that 4th shot. Just does a crit every time. So it looks like Kent State was able to turn that around. But going back to what I was saying is that you just have Garen. He's going to get poked out. As looks like we're going to get a little big positive trade topside. Olaf might be able to force Shen out of lane early, and I wonder if he's going to use that opportunity to just roam, or if we're just going to kind of keep pressing Olaf ahead.
Yeah, this is exactly what you get from an Olaf. So if you're able to grab those, and that's a lot of damage going over towards the Senna, game decides to switch over. So Observer tells us that that doesn't go anywhere. But anyway, looking at it, we do see that that is kind of the power of this Olaf, is that he's just going to be able to continuously poke down if he's able to land his skills, and then he just wants to... the more damage that he's taken, the lower his health bar is, the more he's going to get attack speed and then some lifesteal as well. So always interesting to see him run down some of these champions, but looking across the board, it is going to be farm leads in favor of Kent State everywhere but the top lane. Gives them a slight advantage, as Udyr and Sejuani both positioning potentially towards this mid lane. Sejuani does step over a ward though, so Kent State does know this is happening.
Yeah, nice little trade going bot lane for NIU. Looks like they'd use a lot of potions to get back up. Of course, Kent still has those potions, but it's a nice trade. Might force, it's just like really, it's just about staying in it. If you're bot lane here, you just need to stay in it to let your top laners get ahead so they can clear the path for you late game to carry. Because I think especially Senna, like we talked about, very strong. Ooh, and Olaf's going to get taunted. He's going to lose all his health to a turret shot, and it's going to be first blood over to Kent State on Shen.
Yeah, that was a pretty aggressive play there by Gotcha Sucker on the Olaf. Was unfortunate, does not have the flash to be able to get out of the turret. So the taunt does land enough damage to end up getting the turret shots to land. So does mean first blood goes over to Kent State, but NIU definitely still in this one. Only about a 700 gold lead in favor of Kent State. So something that, like we said, it's going to be a bit of how can you execute on that play in the top lane. And there's really the biggest thing about Garen is he's manaless, so he can continuously just dump out his spells. Cassiopeia eventually does run out of mana, and then you see what just happened there, which is half her health bar just goes away on one full combo. Now Voidstar is going to be stunned up by this one, going to be forced to flash, and now this is potentially traded back, but just the stun does land, but doesn't really end up amounting to anything here in the bot lane.
Yeah, something we're going to have to start watching out for now that Shen has his ultimate is that his ultimate allows him to teleport to any of his teammates and give them a nice big shield, which is going to be huge. I'm almost certain he's going to be using it on Jhin or Cass here. So it's just something you got to keep in mind. It does force him to teleport out of the top lane, but whenever you're trying to trade someone, for example, Garen going in here on Cass, if he wants to maybe try to make a play under tower or a tower dive, you got to keep that in mind because you don't want to try to tower dive and then you're guaranteed get killed, gets blocked by Shen, and then now it's a 2v1 and you're probably low health. So it's just something else that now NIU is going to have to worry about, but it is going to hopefully give Olaf some breathing room to just kind of push ahead and get a CS lead.
Absolutely, and now Udyr does start up this Hextech Drake, and the bot lane from Kent State is going to roam up a little bit here, so we'll see if NIU just elects to give this one up. It does look like they don't have anybody in position to potentially get this. Now, Zanakin will clear out this ward, and so they'll know he's here, which means he'll just go ahead and actually doesn't look like either team really wants to commit to this bot side fight. So it does just mean the Dragon gets finished up by the side of Kent State. They'll grab the Hextech Drake, but in the meantime, NIU able to grab just a little bit more damage here on towards Cassiopeia, but able to actually trade some of that gold back and keep that lead at about 700 gold for Kent State.
Yeah, I'm loving the cheese from the Karen mid by V-Chillin'. Truly playing like a rat in the good way, right? You know, it's like you bush cheese and you gotta do everything you can to kind of make up for that range. And it's just it's fun. It's so much fun to watch. And NIU's bot lane has just been doing a great job holding out. You know, they had that rough trade early on, but they have not let that get to them. They've been doing a great job just like hanging on, keeping the CS close, not letting Jin get ahead, because as we saw last game, you know, Kent State once again has a very good bot lane. And then it just looks like NIU is just going to hang in there for a little bit until they can kind of, hopefully until they can find a good play to make work.
Absolutely. So it does seem that they're just trying to farm out all these lanes. Just like it was in the early game, it is going to be the slight farm leads across the board to Kent State. Now, Sejuani is towards this top side, as is the Udyr, so you have to imagine that that's going to be the next place that these teams look for a potential fight, as Udyr isn't quite sure where Sejuani is. The ping did come into her blue side jungle, and Udyr going to be going towards the top lane. Sejuani is ready to go in towards the bot, or in towards the mid lane, I should say. Now, it does look like they'll potentially call this one off, but now Sejuani could be going top to answer, and Garen going to be there as well. So we'll see if these teams are able to grab something on towards this Udyr. Milkshaky's going to be there too, and no ultimate available for the side of the Sejuani here from Zanakin. Still level 5, so it does mean that no Glacial Prison, no follow-up from the side of NIU.
Yeah, just a lot of nothing doing. Everyone kind of posturing. NIU had a good ward, luckily in Rivers, so that Olaf didn't get caught out, and a good job by Garen and Sedge kind of rotating up there. But Kent State also had a bit of a heads-up play. They realized the gank was bust and they needed to get out, and they didn't hang around too long. So just pretty much not much happening. And we'll see. It looks like NIU might be trying to take the Rift Herald as Udyr is backing, because
there's going to be, as we interrupt there, but Buff Pillsbury Boy actually is able to get out of that one, which I was kind of surprised by, as now it is going to be the dodge out with the ulti. The curtain call doesn't land, and the W misses too, so Extra Loaded is going to stay alive, as does Pillsbury Boy, and really nicely done. Only costing NIU a flash there, as well as actually not even, Senna's ultimate's not even available, so ultimate from Ashe and from Jin both expended, and doesn't end up doing a whole lot for that one. Now, V-Chillin is going to get slowed here. Going to force the flash off of Moosinator. Ultimate does come through, and that's going to be ultimate coming through from V-Chillin. He'll be able to grab one. But Udyr is here. He could potentially turn this around, as the fight is also going on towards the top lane. They're going to be able to grab the one there. Nicely done to actually cancel the ultimate from Milkshaky. And NIU, nicely done to get the slow and the stun in. Extra Loaded is going to be able to grab one on towards Moosinator. Now, Biscuit Flavor is also taken low, and I think he's going to just be able to get out of this one, but Garen is going to be trying to follow up. That's going to be the speed move here from Garen. He's going to use his empowered Q. Actually, one thing that we didn't notice as well, NIU grabbed the Rift Herald in that engage, and now, before its charge will get there, this will be most of the first, yeah, that's the first 4 plates off of the turret, shared between Zanakin and Gotchusucker. V-Chillin's in a bad spot here. He's going to potentially, actually, there's so much move speed. Oh, flash comes through. Oh, flash follow-up. V-Chillin able to get out of that one. The Cassiopeia ultimate does not land, and NIU putting together some interesting plays and putting themselves in about an 800 gold lead here at about 11 minutes, 10 and a half. And so this is what you wanted to see, kind of cheesing with some of the comp. Not sure, you know, in the chat we see they're not sure about the NIU's comp here, but seems to be working out so far. We're you know, we'll have to see how this one continues to go. You know, obviously it's very early in the game still, but NIU, Olaf going to have the Stride Breaker already finished, so he is going to be the first one with the Mythic. Cassiopeia also has hers finished now, so that's going to be a couple of different Mythics in the game, but we're definitely getting towards that point where NIU last game, by the time they had 1 Mythic, Kent State had 3, and NIU keeping it very even here in this one already.
Yeah, oh man, what a fantastic play by NIU. All across the board is very well coordinated. You stop the Shen from getting the teleport off. and you get the Shen, and you get 4 plates off top. You trade bot side, you get 3 for 1, I think. Garen does somehow escape. Use a speedy boy. He was flashing around. Looks like Jin's going to pop an ult. I don't think he's going to be able to finish anybody off here. Extra Loader is going to take a lot of damage, though. This might force NIU's bot to back off, which would not be ideal for giving up the turret plates. Jin's
Flash forward.
in.
Jin's going to be able to follow it up. Sorry, that was not to interrupt, but yeah, that was a lot of damage that comes through. Jin able to land the W in after 2 shots of the curtain call. I think if Extra Loaded had been able to dodge out just one more of those shots off the curtain call, it probably would have meant that he was able to stay alive in that engage. But yeah, everything being used by Kent State's bot lane. So now this is NIU sitting on a ward, and the bot lane is here from Kent State as well. So I think NIU just has to back off of this Drake, potentially look for a trade or a dive over the wall to steal. We'll see if they're able to do that. They don't. It is just going to be picked up by the side of Kent State. So the kill goes over to Kent State. Dragon goes over as well, and now the gold leads back in their favor, about 500.
Yeah, it's one of those things where now NIU's in a bit of a tough spot, because while the early cheese was good, especially when you have Olaf's going to start to fall off a little bit. You're going to have to start finding a way to kind of using Olaf to pressure the rest of the team, you know, especially that bot lane. If there's not really an easy way. He does have teleport, but it's going to be hard for him to kind of make an impact bot, and Shen is just going to be one of those people that Olaf cannot fight, because whenever it comes down to it, Shen can just leave the fight and there's nothing Olaf can do about it. It looks like he does have a bit of a bush tease. I don't know if he'll be able to run down Shen here. Shen's going to have his shield up. It's going to block all auto attacks. Here comes Udyr. And I think, yeah, it looks like Olaf's going to get caught, and I think it's going to be end. Oh, it's close, though.
Oh, there's going to be the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. It'll mean Buff Pillsbury Boy is taken down as well. And this is, unfortunately, kind of the you know, they needed to be not taking some of these aggressive fights. Now, Be Chillin' is here. He might be able to escape. We'll see if he's able to do just that, as there is the recall coming through from Shen. So it will mean that NIU is just a little bit late to the rotations on some of these. And on the flip side, Kent State's been really good about keeping vision and knowing where NIU is going to be and being able to follow up when NIU goes to the, you know, wherever that is.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to the rest of this game. NIU's going to have to pick their fights very wisely. They had a lot of fights they kind of picked there where it was maybe not ideal. Garen's probably going to be able to get the first tower. That's a nice 450 gold bonus. So that's very good for NIU. Opens up topside. Hopefully maybe gives Olaf the ability. Looks like Olaf's going to maybe hang around mid. And then Be Chillin' and Milkshake are going to do a little dance here as Udyr comes in. I don't know if Be Chillin's going to be able to escape. He's going to have a speed. And he's going to get under tower. I don't think that Kent's going to be able to dive that.
Yeah, actually, this could be a potential kill towards NIU, as now this is Udyr going to be here. The ult comes through from the Shen. It is going to mean that with the turret down, he might be able to continue to fight through this one. Shen doing a lot of damage. Now the follow-up does continue to go through, but that's going to be traded back, and we'll see if NIU is able to get to here. Got You Sucker could fall potentially as ultimate does come through. Now that's going to be one falling. Biscuit Flavor will be able to grab the one on towards Garen, and unfortunately just doesn't have the damage. Sejuani not able to get there in time, and I think they had the right idea, but unfortunately with the Sejuani taking a little too long to rotate, it does mean the kills go over towards the side of Kent State, and it's just small mistimings on some of these plays are really what are costing NIU the kills and the damage through and the lead throughout this game.
Yeah, I mean, NIU did a really good job in that first fight. You can see there's like the very well coordinated, and it looks like they definitely caught Kent off guard. But I think right there they probably should have backed off once Shen had the teleport. It becomes obvious it's not going to be an easy kill. I think it's one of those things you're already down. You don't want to try to force too much. Because the more you keep trying to force, the more the more it's easier for Kent to kind of capitalize on if you make a mistake or a misjudgment, and then the lead just kind of grows and the cycle continues. So I think NIU especially now, is really going to have to be conservative. They're going to have to really try to catch someone out here. They're going to need their vision in their jungle, and they're going to have to try to make a play. Looks like NIU is going to go to defend their top side. Jin's going to clear out wards in the bottom, and everyone's just going to reposition themselves for the next fight.
Yep, and there's going to be, one thing to keep in mind here. Looking across the board, looking at the items, That is a full tier on the Cassiopeia, so mana issues aren't going to be a thing here anymore for the Cass. And on top of that, does have the needlessly large rod as well, which means that that should be a Seraph's Embrace finished very quickly here for this Cassiopeia. Moosinator just sitting in wait, but that is going to be the pick on towards the Jhin, and they are going to be able to grab it. NIU utilizing everybody just to grab that shutdown on towards Jhin. Moosinator was playing there just to keep him safe, and unfortunately not going to keep his ADC safe enough. So NIU, well played, able to grab this one back, and we'll see if they're able to grab some damage on towards this mid-tier 1 turret, especially because that dragon will be spawning in just about 20 seconds. So NIU wants to be in position for this. Jhin will be back available. Now Udyr's going to be running at them, and the bot lane of NIU, a little bit worrisome if you're them. Yeah, that's just going to be Buff Pillsbury Boy just chased down here by the Udyr, and that is the power of that champion, playing very similarly to the Garen. And I don't think NIU is going to be able to contest this dragon. They really need to stop the dragon stacking and make sure that they don't have to be forced to fight every single one of them. But it does look like the Sejuani is just going to be farming up her red buff. Garen's going to take the Blast Cone in the opposite direction, so the Mountain Soul will put them on Soul, or the Mountain Drake will put the side of Kent State on Soul Point here, and NIU needs to turn this around in some fashion by finding a fight that's not just one pick, but a couple of different picks as well.
Yeah, it was a great pick on the Jhin, and I wish NIU used it a little more to capitalize, maybe push into the river and start gaining that vision, or you know, shoving the tower really hard. I feel like we kind of backed off a little bit, and we gave Kent State a chance to recoup and then catch some of us out. So I think it's one of those things we gotta get that. We need to maybe just try to push the lead a little more since we had it right there. And now NIU's gonna have to defend. It's gonna be the ultimate coming out from Ashe, and it looks like it's gonna catch Buff Pillsbury Boy. Extra Load's gonna be able to hold back, but I think that tower's gonna get cracked open from Shelly.
Yeah, not a whole lot that NIU can do. Nicely flashed, actually, if you're Ashe. I thought that they might be able to grab that one. Traded back, and the turret shot did not land. It had just gone through. Extra Loaded going to dodge out one, going to miss the second, but does just dodge out the rest of them, so it does mean that he's going to be able to live, but Moosinator will fall, and actually Void Star is going to be able to land the W there. And now here's the ultimate here from Shen, able to put the shield on towards Moosinator. And NIU will grab one back, but I really don't think there's enough that they can get through this this tanky, beefy front line of Shen and Udyr. And once you don't do that, you immediately get turned on. So Jhin does fall, but NIU not really able to grab a whole lot more off of that one. And they do lose their mid inhibitor turret as well off of that control. Or off of that play, I should say.
Yeah, that mid inhib's being down is gonna be difficult. It's gonna be hard to contest Baron as it comes up, especially since you got a Drake in 3 minutes, and Kent State could just probably force, if they go take Baron, you're forced to take Drake because you cannot let them get Soul. So while obviously having a Mountain Drake would be good, if Kent State gets that Baron in there, it'll just kind of walk it in. I don't know if NIU will be able to stop them with this Shen and Udyr kind of being big, and then Jhin. As long as they can pave the way for Jhin to just sit back and do his damage, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, the biggest thing that is going to make this even harder for NIU is the fact that, and it's not something we talked about so far, but it is something that was really important about this Ashe support pick for the Jhin, is Ashe has her volley, and now the Enchanted Crystal Arrow as well does not land. So I think that might have been the first Enchanted Crystal Arrow that didn't land this game, which is just a testament to how Moosinator's been playing on this champion. But with the volley coming through from Ashe, any damage that you do as Ashe is going to then allow Jhin to then use his W to stun up somebody. So nicely done to still get the stun through the flash, but does force it off. Now Curtain Call does land, not going to really get a whole lot out of it. Chillin's going to take one shot. It's just going to be kind of everyone takes a little bit of damage off of the Curtain Call. Doesn't really get a whole lot out of it. Ultimates are available for NIU, so they do have yeah, there's going to actually be the Ragnarok used by Olaf as well, so really all they have is Glacial Prison and the Garen ulti now. And with that, There's actually 4 ultis available for the side of Kent State. That's going to be the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Traded back by Zanakin a little bit, but the damage really won't be enough. Moosinator taken low, but not able to be killed off. Now, stun does come through from Senna, and this is a little bit of a, NIU has a positive here if you're rooting for them, because they're kind of forcing them in between the Baron pit and the fight, but the Baron does stop doing damage, so they're not able to grab a whole lot this, and then we'll see where they want to go with it. So.
And I use playing with fire a little bit by just kind of harassing the Kent State, trying to prevent them from backing. Probably because this Drake is up in 55 seconds, and you want to be able to make sure that your team is a little more ready for it than they are. But you also don't want to push out too far and get caught out, because especially with that Ash Arrow, which it is off cooldown. It's a very short cooldown. You don't want to get caught up by that, or possibly Shen Udyr. I mean, the Kent State's got a lot of options, just trying to literally prevent you from playing the game. And it's a nice turret claim by NIU. They're going to get that gold bounty, and now they're going to have to set up for this Drake. It's coming up in 30 seconds as Garen and Heimer back.
Yeah, so it does look like NIU are actually going to recall now. So I think they have. I think they really are looking to potentially seed this Dragon again over towards the side of Kent State. I mean, I'd like to see them at least try to trade it for something. So grab the Baron, grab a turret in favor of it, and actually Zanakin's just going to be spotted on some vision. Going to have to dive over the wall, and so the dash won't be available here. Now Zanakin also going to be taking a little. That's B-Chilling going to be found here, and. So Udyr just going to go ahead and use his Phoenix form, the empowered Phoenix form, and continue to follow up with that. So
yeah, NIU's going to have to force the issue eventually, because Shen's just going to sit topside because he has his ultimate. And it looks like a miss on the ult from Sedge, and now NIU is not in a good spot. They're going to dive onto their front line.
Of all the people that could hit that Enchanted Crystal Arrow, that's probably the best one, because it is going to be extra loaded with the cleanse. But unfortunately, that is just a really, really beefy Biscuit Flavor, who then goes ahead and is able to grab a couple kills, is able to grab the tank, and looking at it, this is going to be Voidstar rushing over and potentially starting up the Baron for Kent State as well, while Udyr finishes up the Dragon. And NIU, I think that was well played. Unfortunately, they're just so far behind that there isn't really a play to be had there, and now they're going to have to they're going to have to defend against a Baroned up and Mountain Souled team, and that's even more difficult when you're NIU's comp, considering the fact that they're having troubles getting through this Udyr and Shen when they didn't have the Mountain Soul on top of them, and now with the enhanced resistances and the shield. That's going to be a really tough ask for the NIU carries here.
Yeah, unfortunately, NIU's team is pretty heavily AD based, and when you have Shen, Udyr are both able to stack armor very easily, looks like they are, and it's just going to make them very tanky, very difficult to deal with. So Heimer's kind of your only choice there, and he does have the Leandries, which does do percent max health, which is very good against tanks. But the problem is that it's not going to be enough. He's going to what the problem is, it's going to burn damage over time, which is great. But the problem is when Udyr and Shen can just walk up to you and start hitting you. Unfortunately, you don't have time. Time is not on your side. So it looks like Kent's just going to try to run it down mid here to end it. They got 4 mid with that Shen bot, just kind of get a little extra pressure. And he's going to almost certainly have to seed this inhib. But all they have to do, what they're going to have to do now is just stall for time.
Yeah, I was going to make a comment about the Enchanted Crystal Arrow having missed down the mid lane, but if you look at it, it's off cooldown already.
Oh my.
So that is, I believe, a 30-second cooldown on that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Ashe has that available in literally every team fight, and sometimes even twice in a team fight. Especially with that Imperial Mandate, it's just a ridiculous amount of damage that you're going to be seeing come out. And there it is. Extra loaded's going to be caught with that one. That's going to be the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Now into the curtain call. 2 shots, 3 shots. That's going to be a second kill. And now the 4th one goes on towards Zanakin. Luckily, Zanakin is pretty tanky. Not going to be falling with that. But on the flip side of it, it is going to be Olaf. He's going to take a bit of damage, and Voidstar's going to be able to grab a 3rd here with that. And now potentially with the stun under the turret, that's going to be another one as B-Chillin does fall to Cassiopeia. Is able to grab 2, does NIU, but I don't think with Zanakin being the Sejuani, I'm not sure that he has the damage to be able to hold off these Baron-empowered super minions in both the bot lane, or sorry, in just the mid lane. I thought they had that inhibitor turret taken, but they have not yet in the bot lane. And yeah, Zanakin just going to burn down. And Extra Loaded is back, but that is both of the Nexus turrets already taken. NIU going to have to hold this one, and it doesn't look like they are going to. So NIU will fall to 0-3 on the season, and Kent State will move to 2-0. But NIU, you know, they've tried some new things. There's definitely some positives that they're learning coming out of each of these games. And, you know, I'm excited to see them as they continue to grow these skills and try new things, like this type of comp that is very different than what they've played so far. This is very much more of a pick comp compared to their, you know, their more team fight oriented compositions they've had in the past. So
I really actually liked the picks there. I like the creativity, especially after that first game. You realize, okay, you know, it looks like if we just try a standard comp, we're probably gonna have to repeat of last game. We're gonna have to do something that hopefully Kent State is not ready for, and I really liked it. I mean, it kept caught us off guard. We weren't sure where they were going with it, and it was definitely a good try. Unfortunately, I think just like eventually once Kent State started getting that lead, your comp only kind of works if you can get an early lead and keep pressing it, especially with that Olaf and Garen. You need to get big, and you got to get it fast. And NIU unfortunately wasn't able to do that. Kent State did a good job holding out, but I really liked that second game. It was a good showing of how they learned from the first game and tried to adapt, and that's something that NIU I think is going to have to do, especially a lot throughout the rest of this season.
yeah, I have to agree. And you know, it's something that, like I said, they're developing these skills, they're changing things up and trying new things. So I want to give them, you know, props for doing that. Unfortunately, it is a GG's over to Kent State. They do find the 2-0 victory. So we'll have to see how NIU is able to bounce back Wednesday night. So giving you guys the rundown on what's coming up here this week. So on Tuesday, we're going to see the NIU Overwatch team. They are going to be taking on, I believe, let me just pull that up so that I don't have that incorrect for you. I want to give you guys the most correct information. And as we have it, it's going to be, give us just 2 seconds. On Tuesday, it's going to be Central Michigan at 7 o'clock Central Time for NIU Overwatch. They're going to look to stay undefeated and move to 3-0 on the season. NIU League of Legends will also be back in action on Wednesday, not Tuesday, Wednesday, also at 7 o'clock. So that'll be nice and easy for you, especially because the opponent's also going to be Central Michigan. So NIU Overwatch, Tuesday, Central Michigan, 7 o'clock. NIU League of Legends, Wednesday, 7 o'clock, Central Michigan. And those will both be streamed right here on the channel. You'll be in excellent hands on Tuesday, as we'll have our normal casters, Alex Frosty Kramer, and we'll have also Nick Matusik on the broadcast with you for that one. I'll be back on Wednesday for NIU versus Central Michigan in League of Legends, and then Tim and I will be back on the broadcast on Saturday, a week from today, as that will be the NIU versus Toledo matchup. That one at 2 o'clock Central Time, a week from today, Saturday. So we hope that you guys join us on all of those broadcasts and keep up to date with all things NIU esports by following our social media channels, as well as joining our Discord and checking out our website at niu.edu/esports. Until then, thank you so much for watching. We hope that you guys enjoyed the broadcast. Unfortunate that NIU wasn't able to grab the win, but hopefully we'll be back and bringing you some more wins on Tuesday and Wednesday, as well as Saturday of this upcoming week. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you later on in the week.